Chip?
Hugh is here, but he may not have video, so I'm working on it.
Okay, and you. So we're good to go. Is it 10 o'clock yet?
Yes.
It's exactly 10 o'clock. Meeting's called to order. First order of business, and I am very happy that this is the first order of business, is to review the minutes from the prior meeting. Thank you so much, Jan. I can tell you how great it is to have you on the team.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
I'll give you guys a minute. If there are no questions or comments, I will ask for a motion to approve the minutes as prepared by Jan.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Paul. And a second, please.
Second, Hugh.
Thank you, Hugh. In favor? Aye. Are
Aye.
there any opposed? None. Approved. Jan, we rock.
Great.
That's terrific. Thank you. Next order of business is certificate of appropriate votes. It occurred to, I'd added a sentence that we haven't used before. Victoria, comment on whether this is appropriate or not. But there was some confusion in one of the meetings as to what the certificate of appropriateness vote was or what it is not. And it's my understanding that is specifically voting on the draft certificate as prepared by the city attorney. It is not relitigating the application.
That's how this board has consistently treated the document that you've authorized me to prepare it based on what you decided the meeting before.
Okay. That's been my experience for I don't know how long, years, 6. And it works very well. If we start using this document to relitigate and deny a vote from a previous meeting, we're going to create some fairly significant issues. I just want to make that clear. Let's go through the certificates. Victoria, are you comfortable sharing?
Yep. Let's see. What's first? 604?
I've got 604 Warren Street first up. There are actually 1, 2, 3 signs.
So 604 was a hand-painted sign with gold lettering.
Okay. If there are no questions or comments, a motion please to approve the certificate of appropriateness for 604 as prepared by the city attorney.
I'll make that motion.
Paul, thank you. And Miranda, second. On favor.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? None approved. 136 Warren Street sign.
I think that one was a no-show last week.
Okay, move on.
I don't know if they're here today, but
602 Warren Street.
this is a wall-mounted, non-illuminated sign. This was the one that was on the corner.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Paul, thank you. In a second, please.
I'll second. Jeremy.
Thanks very much, Jeremy, and good morning. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None approved. 7 Rossman Avenue.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Paul. And a second, please. Jeremy,
Yep.
all in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. 7 Rossman Avenue certificate is approved. 629 Warren Street. And I keep on messing up
I
the
think it's
number. It is
829.
is it 829?
Yeah.
Okay. I've gotten it wrong twice.
This was the building with the awning and the projecting sign.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes,
Motion.
the gallery.
829 Warren. Paul, thank you very much. Miranda, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? None. 829 Warren Street certificate is approved. 702, 704 Columbia Street.
This was for the two doors and the greenhouse. We took off the other features of the building.
Understood.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Miranda. And a second, please.
I'll second.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Jeremy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? None. 702, 704 certificate is approved. Next order of business are applications. And I'm going to ask code enforcement if I missed anything on this. Craig, are we good on the applications?
Yeah, it was just a sign there for North 7th Street.
I got North 7th Street, and I think you and I said that we would look at the revisions to 501 as a new application, but the revisions on the elevator, which is the second bit, simply as a presentation with no vote to be taken.
I haven't looked at this yet. All I indicated that was a new application to an
Okay.
existing approval, which that was up to you if you wanted to put it on your agenda or not.
Okay, fair enough. I did, and apologies if I'm putting you on the spot. Let's see
Not
if
at all.
we could do 501, and Walter understands the situation, that we will hopefully, unless there are issues, vote on the first bit, and the second bit is not a concept. I think it's well detailed, but it's an enhancement that allows for an elevator, and Walter's comfortable presenting that as a concept. Walter Chatham.
Hi, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
May I share?
Please.
Okay. Okay, so let us begin, and I will really try and do this carefully so I don't drive everybody crazy like I usually do. First of all, do you see my screen and my drawing?
Yes.
Yes.
And Walter, just to preface for everybody, the X percent, I don't know what it is, 80, 90% of this project, or this project as it was presented, has been approved in other meetings and a certificate issued. What we're talking now about is a new application to propose modifications.
Okay, thank you. Yes, so I think maybe to avoid muddying the water, I'll first show you what I plan to come in and talk about this morning, which is this. I think we've already submitted photographs, but there's a small garage structure that's not really visible because it's behind a giant yew tree, and it's set back. You can see it here, and it's in terrible condition. We would like to demolish it and replace it with basically an access drive to get back here so we could do a one-way circulation here. And we're also proposing, and I don't know if this is something that we need to ask your permission, but I'll do it anyway. We're going to put a condenser pad here, and the yew tree that I was talking about is right here. So I think that's going to shield that very nicely from the street. We'll have to clip the yew tree up. It's gone kind of crazy, but I think it will be a nice dense screen. And let's see, what else do I want to show you? Right, okay, so there, I'm sorry, please don't do that. There is a photo of the garage, so you can see what I'm saying. There's the giant yew, and the yew can be clipped so that we can get access into the driveway, but we can leave enough tree, nice mature tree, if the tree guy says it can be saved, to screen that. If not, we would replace it with other landscape screening. These are just some other shots. And then right. So that was for that. And then, please stop doing that. This is the one thing I do not know how to stop it doing this. So it likes to go through my entire thing and then it'll let me change. Sorry. All right, here. So that was what we were going to apply for, permission to remove the garage. There it is again. The way things are shaking out on this project, an opportunity has come up to explore putting an elevator in. And the first step would be to bring it to HPC to make sure that in concept, this is something you would approve. So the garage demolition, we're asking for approval today. Two other things that have come up are this elevator, which we would detail as a simple stucco shaft at the back of the building here on the side we were just looking at. Here's the full elevation. The other thing that's come up is when we started the storefront design, we had a regular pattern with equal spaces between and the openings off center. Those of you who've seen work on the building know that a tremendous amount of work is being done to the brick. The engineers have told us we can't do what I wanted to do originally, so they're suggesting the arrangement I'm showing here, where if you recall, we had the door in the center, equal panels on each side, and then a window over here. So we're asking for your permission to flip that and change the panel spacing. As you can see now, it more or less coincides with the structural lines of the building, which is what the engineer is saying we must do. So those are two additional items that we'd like you to consider. And if they can't be voted on today, that's certainly understandable. So that's just for discussion, but certainly the garage removal we would like to take care of today if possible.
Thanks, Walter. And anything else? So going back to the prior screen, we're basically looking at moving the door to another location. The previous, the image on the left was actually what was approved.
This one is not what was approved here.
Oh, okay,
Let me find what was approved for you. I'm sorry.
thank you.
Whoops, there it is. Just needed to stop. Okay, so yes, so I'm sorry I don't have them right side by side. If I was more sophisticated, I could, but you see, originally the idea was to have 4 equal panels with the windows more or less spaced between them and the door here. And at the time we did that, we hadn't discovered some of the structural issues that we've come up with. And I'd assumed because this is such a thin corner that we would not have an issue here. The structural engineer assures me that we cannot do this, and therefore pushing that over runs into the next pier. So the arrangement that we're asking for now solves that problem by basically using openings or openings that were filled in their existing locations. So much less invasive to the fabric of the building.
Walter, are you saying that there were openings in these places previously?
Oh, yes. Unfortunately, I don't have that image up on my screen, but remember there was an engraving, another engraving from the 19th century that showed that, and I was more or less mimicking what was on that engraving, and that showed the divisions more or less equal. I now believe the engraver took license because since we originally designed this, of course, we've gutted the building and took everything out behind the brick, all the finishes, so it's very clear. And Miranda, you're particularly close, so I'd be happy to trot over and show you if you want to have a look. In this area here, there is already an opening that was bricked in, and then this window exists here, and this, I believe, exists as the door now. If I'm not getting confused, maybe this is the door. Sorry, this is the door now, and this is the window, but this was a much larger opening, and this window is sized for what we need to put a door in. So, you know, I think for my eye, the building has a very pronounced rhythm coming down with those brick piers. So the fact that this more or less takes that rhythm down to the ground makes this work for me. We're going to paint it an attractive color and it'll have signage. So it's up to you all, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, but if we could do this, it would be tremendously helpful.
And then this is around the corner on Fifth Street. Instead of
Yes,
picture
this-
window, we're having a single vertical window, right?
no, there's no change here. This was
Okay.
always, what I was trying to do was to get this, and actually, you see where it says equal A, I was trying to get all of those piers to work with that also, and that's where I ran afoul of the engineering. So really, if you want to get very specific, this has to be fat and this has to be fat, and you can see kind of why in terms of this overall brick mass coming down. And again, those of you who know this corner know that this corner has been continually pushing down. So I believe we've stabilized that now.
Commissioners, you just want to stay on this and then talk about the garage or side structure separately?
Is there
I
anything
don't know
more
if
to
anyone
this?
else has comments on this. I think this is more symmetrical and more aligned with the shape of the building than the previous thing, but I would like to be able, I think our issue here is as historic preservation, trying to preserve as much as possible the original detail of the building. So it would be helpful to compare it to historic photos or prints.
So what Walter's saying, if I understood him, that that the lithograph or other impression may have been modified a bit from what was there based on his archaeology working through the inside. Is that correct, Walter?
That's a really good way to put it. And, you know, we had a similar situation at 59 Allen, and I realized there are a lot of issues there. This is more clear cut to me because this opening here, and you can see this is a larger opening than we were planning for the door. This opening here is already inside, enlarged and filled in. So to me, and again, Miranda, it would be very helpful if you wanted to just come down because I can show you what it looks like inside the building and then you'll go, aha, okay, now I see what you're trying to do. These openings exist. This one is blocked up. This one is there and ready to come down. This one is there and ready to come down. It's a window at the moment. So again, this is a more gentle, non-invasive or less invasive approach. But come and look and I can show you the engraving also. And then if you can't decide this time, we can put it off for next time. You know, I'm happy to work on other parts of the building.
I'd like to see if we can decide and not just carry over stuff. If possible, if we can't, we can't. I think that there are lots of ways of framing the issue. Given the fact that what you're saying in terms of having to accommodate structural issues is the basis on this. And given the archaeology, which is demonstrable, whether we go over or not, there's no reason not to believe it. To me, the question for the commission on this aspect of the work is whether or not it's appropriate. And that's what I believe it is. But I'm one voice, and other folks should weigh in.
I'm trying to find the.
I would just weigh in just second that it seems appropriate to me.
I'm with you on that, John. I think it's both appropriate and also for a lot of reasons it's going to be a very attractive solution. But
I agree.
I agree as well.
okay,
Oh, well, maybe then I don't have to find the engraving.
no, I don't think that's the issue, and I don't think you're fabricating what the archaeology brought out or whatever. I reckon we're okay on that part. Demo is always a concern of the commission. Could you, I assume part of this application is the demo of the garage or outbuilding?
Yes, the garage was the original ask on the request to take.
And
it.
that's part of what we're opining on right now. The elevator is going to be separate. Is that
Yes,
correct, or is the
Yeah.
garage part of the elevator?
well, they're linked in that the garage would have to come down for us to even do the elevator, but this was the original application, and I apologize, this was made, I guess, 2 months ago or a month and a half ago. And every day something changes at this building and we have to make minor adjustments as we discover stuff. And it's going well. I invite any commissioner who wants to come down and have a look. It's safe to go through now. We've built some really great temporary stairs. You can go all the way to the roof. It's fascinating to see how the building is framed. So,
Well, Walter, let's talk about the garage. Do you have photographs of the existing structure?
I
Or-
do. Here they are. I didn't take an inside photo, although I have one now on my phone. The area up here where my cursor is, the roof actually has daylight coming through. And that's the sad tale of this building. It's completely eaten away. It's also kind of a 1940s or 50 kit garage. It's not a historic structure. It's a nice garage. I wish I had it for my own use, but we'd like to get it out of there. You can imagine, if you've seen the site, we have 2 enormous dumpsters usually parked in the porta-cans on the larger part. So this would be worth its weight in gold to be able to use this area for material storage and access to this.
Okay, and what warrant Walter, you're warranting, if you will, that this is a 20th century building, not to be confused with something that was original to the main structure.
So I'm so glad you asked me that question. I've learned through my work with HPC that the Sanborn maps are the best way to find out what's what. So on the 1905 Sanborn map, there is a blank where there would be a little yellow rectangle if that structure existed in 1905. And again, I'm no archaeologist, but I see, Lucy and Desi bringing the Roadster home in their brand new garage. Or maybe it's the Mertzes.
Maybe just Ethel.
Can you zoom in a little bit on those photos so we can see them better?
Yeah, sorry. Oh my God. I really have been practicing for you all. I don't know if you remember when
Yeah, Walter, I'm very impressed.
Victoria had to do my entire presentations in the past.
So Walter, was that a driveway for all intents purpose? There was a curb cut and all that stuff?
Yeah, there kind of is, Paul. You can kind of see there's some broken concrete here, and they just, at the point where they put the sidewalk in, I guess it had been abandoned. So they didn't bother here, but I'm sorry, I don't seem to have a photo of that, but there's a little, it probably would be apparent there if I could blow that up.
That's
There's a
okay,
little-
but the intention then is that cars can go in that way and circle
Oh,
the building and come out on
Yes,
you.
that would be the idea. So, oh God, here it goes again. So sorry.
And my only other, while you're doing that is, so along the driveway then would be the air conditioning condensers?
Yes, let me show you that.
Yeah, Walter, if you could close that little sidebar on the right, the pictures will get a little bigger as well. If he
Well-
goes, see, there's a little arrow in the middle, down.
Yeah, okay, wait.
Okay.
Okay, I'm trying, hold on one sec. I don't understand why it's,
Well, in the meantime, I guess, I know you talked about the yew tree that, would be from the street view. Along the drive then, would those condensers then be covered with any fencing, landscaping?
at the moment, sorry about this, Paul. At the moment, what we're hoping is that the air conditioning enclosures will allow us to put some kind of like a screen there. And to be honest, we haven't completely worked out the, oh my goodness, what have I done? Sorry. All right, I'm gonna just show you this site plan, sorry. So at the moment, we haven't worked out with the AC guys whether they will accept this layout, because this is, of course, if we put the elevator, it compacts it. But my thought, Paul, is there's a house here that doesn't really have windows here, and they have their condensers on their
Okay.
slot of land there. So, you know, it's a tight gap. And if we could, I would put probably a metal fence right along there. The elevator itself is not accessible. And, you know, we could definitely try and do a screen as long as it doesn't interfere with the airflow.
All right, now, as long as the neighbor really doesn't have any windows and their condenser is on that side, I guess it lessens the concern that the neighbor would have.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm happy to, I think I have, if I can just recall it without making something else horrible happen, I think I have a photo of that. Yeah. Okay, please stop. House here, so you can see what the setup is. Please stop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna just take my luck and say stop there. So here you can see they've got their meters. They do have a window there that's blocked by the garage, but then their AC unit is immediately, or maybe 2 units immediately on the other side of the window. I don't know if it's clear, but there's a slot of land there.
Okay.
And I assume they've put their condensers on their property and not ours. You know, but the condensers are definitely on that side. And to my knowledge and recollection, these windows, and then there might be one other down on an extension of the house, but I don't think our condensers would affect them. I think we would be much more likely to be affected. So we're going to try and soundproof them for our own.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. Sorry, purposes. Yeah, that's the one without the elevator tower. So you can kind of see it. One other thing we were exploring, if the elevator tower could be used, maybe we could put some condensers on it on the side, you know, not facing the neighbor. That might also lessen the impact. I'm thinking of those 3 up there at the top in this drawing.
Right.
But really, you know, the air conditioning guy is going to give us a final layout, and we could bring it back to you, I suppose, and have you approve it.
Walter?
Yeah.
So we can get you going a little bit. Would you be comfortable if we deal with the condensers as part of a next meeting on the elevator shaft?
Absolutely. If I could take that garage out, it would just save a tremendous amount of difficulty.
Well, you also know what you're doing. So I would ask that we focus then exclusively, yay or nay, on the modifications you proposed on the facade to deal with structural issues, and on the demo of the garage, and that we have a separate meeting at a future date to talk about the elevator and the condensers.
That would be great.
I have one question about the parking, the 6 parking spaces that are shown. Was that, were those approved by previous application?
I don't know or believe so. And to be honest, I didn't realize I needed HPC approval to do that. So I'm happy to discuss that now or later, whatever you all think is appropriate.
Well, you're making a parking lot where there was previously not a parking lot. Correct?
That's true.
And what is the structure that is closest to the sidewalk and closest to the side? It looks like a storage shed. I can't read.
Sorry, it says fence, trash, and maintenance enclosure. So obviously I would have to bring that to you all at a point when we've decided whether that's going to be metal or wood. It's probably just going to be a simple wood enclosure. And, you know, Chip, that would just be obviously so that we have a place to store our trash convenient on the street.
I'm sorry, what do you all mean by quote unquote a parking lot? How is that different or not different from people who are residents or users of the structure having a place to park their car on the property?
Well, I don't take exception with the term parking lot. The issue is that there's parking, there's a driveway around the building now. There's parking around the building where there wasn't a drive and parking before. And it seems to me like maybe the HPC doesn't have jurisdiction over paving on the and on
I think we could
on a lot.
ask, but I don't agree. I'm sorry. I think we would have jurisdiction over something like that, but I think that's something we could ask Victoria.
Victoria, weigh in.
On the parking surface?
Well, while Victoria's forming a theory,
Let me
I have a response to that, which is if we took our fence line across the front of that, it would be shielded from the street. And then I think it wouldn't be an issue. We just have to have a gate. That would be a shame. I'd rather leave it open, leave the architecture visible, landscape with some attractive stuff. One comment, because I think Chip raises a good point of paving and asphalt and the problems that engenders in a neighborhood. One thing we need to talk about on the site eventually when we get around to full site development is now the sidewalk extends from the front of the building to the curb. Originally, there was a sidewalk, I'm going to say 4 feet, and a planting strip 4 feet. And I guess because of width regulations for the sidewalks being 5 feet, this entire block, Miranda knows this, she lives in a house that has this, the whole thing is just a slab of broken concrete, except where people have replaced the sidewalk. So, I mean, my concern would be more landscaping that strip between Union Street and our building and making that the way that the issues of landmark and parking would be dealt with. But that's just how I would deal with it.
So just weighing in, the code says that the Landmarks Commission has to review any material change in appearance of a property. And, we've included landscaping and hardscaping in the past as part of that review.
I have no objection to you all reviewing it. I mean, this is a drawing that was prepared as an overall planning drawing, and I put the garage demolition, which has to happen immediately, on it. And I'm glad I did, because I didn't realize this would be an issue with you all, but if it is, I'm happy to address it. I would say we could address it with using nice paving and fixing the sidewalk, as I said, so there's a planting strip along Union.
It certainly would be a positive for the neighborhood to have off-street parking for these 6, I guess it's 9 apartments in there. There's not a lot of extra parking. There's a parking only on one side of Union Street at that point. And it's full every day. So and this building is empty. No one has been living there. So that's a consideration also.
Victoria? Not that I know all that much, but just I'll throw out a thought. I'm really not comfortable with the commission making decisions about parking or not parking on somebody's property. That I don't think that's what we do. However, we do make decisions about permanent structures, including driveways, and that would encompass parking spaces. And we do make decisions on managing the streetscape, if you will, in a way that's least intrusive on the historic district. I'm totally grateful, because I had missed this, that Chip brought that up. It ain't nothing. I think we should take it seriously. I think we should ask Walter to come back with a plan that would allow him parking, but also deal structurally with the pavement and where appropriate, the masking of that, if that's the solution that he wants to do. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I know you phrased it as a question, but you said it with a lot of confidence, more like a statement. I think it's right. This board has no jurisdiction on whether to require parking or not require parking, but you certainly have to review what is being proposed for the appropriateness, including the surface and screening.
I would like them to bundle the parking in another meeting where we talk about the elevator shaft and focus this exclusively on the changes to the facade and the demo of the outbuilding.
I think that's great. And I am delighted to use the opportunity to work over the design a little bit and get this landscaping and parking to where I can present it to you all. I think that's fine.
Okay.
So
There's-
so
Sure.
we have two items then that we're voting on. One is the removal of the garage, and the other is the modifications to the storefront. Is that correct? Are those the only two things we're discussing here?
That's correct, Chip.
Okay. I didn't get the comment earlier about the storefront. I think it's perfectly reasonable, and it certainly is architecturally rational to have those masonry openings of the storefront align with more with the windows above. So I think that I don't have any problem with the storefront, and I certainly don't have any problem with the removal of the garage.
Great.
Excellent. Walter,
Yes.
there's an old saying that you sort of stop while you're ahead. I'm going to ask folks to begin to vote on this.
Yeah.
I'd already stopped, I swear.
No, you're starting again.
Can I have,
Phil has a good sense of things.
Craig has a question, I think. He's been trying to jump
Sorry.
in.
I just want to clarify, and as I'm listening to the parking and pavement of the exterior of a building in an historic district, this has not been addressed in the past. There has been recent applications where parking lots have been installed and it hasn't even been questioned. So I don't see anything in the code where it says that other than the alteration to the property. And I think I tried to find the definition of property in our code has always referred to the building.
Yeah, I
So
think,
I just want to bring it to your attention because again, past presence, this has not been addressed. This is the first time ever I've actually told people, and they've repaved their driveways going from stone to blacktop without any review of historic in the last 9 years. So I just want to bring that to your attention.
Thanks, Craig.
I recall specifically discussing at length the parking creation of a parking space in the side yard of the building on East Court Street on the alley at the restoration of that Victorian building. We had extensive discussions about the landscaping and the walls and the sidewalks and specifically about the parking. So my recollection is that it certainly has been discussed. It seems to me that the commission is charged with reviewing building permit applications that have an effect on the environment of the community of Hudson, and that's what we do.
Well, I understand that, and I'm not defending anybody other than the code and past practice, which is my responsibility. What I am saying to you is discussion is one thing. Part of an application and approval is another.
I understand.
I can tell you right now, you just issued C of A's in the last 6 months where a discussion of parking was a question, but it was never indicated in their review and it was never indicated in the award of the C of A. So discussion and approval is two different terms and coming from a code perspective. And that's why I'm saying we just did a major code review that went through planning at least 5 different times. And that parking area for that particular commercial property was never even discussed in the review. And that's an historic landmark. So I was bringing it to your folks' attention because this is going to raise an issue of past practice versus current. And this is what happens. I'm just questioning it because again, this is never, as long as I can remember, and I've never seen it in anybody's application where this has been a question.
Folks, I'd like to have some of this day to ourselves. My suggestion is I ask as your whatever I am to have an opportunity to talk to Craig and to Victoria further. One of the great things about working with Walter is Even when we may be discussing something, he has been consistently open to ideas. If we can contribute to the aesthetics and the streetscape and he's okay with it, even if it's not required by code, it's a worthy conversation to take forward. But I want to do some homework on that, and I would like to take that forward. My ask now is that we have a motion to approve just two things. The modifications to the two facades that have been presented and the demo of the 20th century garage, period. And Walter will be back and we can do some more preparation on the parking. Is that fair? May I have a motion to find the application complete
I'll make
on
that
those two
motion.
areas? Paul, may I have a second?
I'll second.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? None. The application is complete specifically for what I described. May I have a motion to waive a public hearing and request the city attorney to prepare a C of A?
Hugh motions.
Beautiful. Hugh
Second.
motion, Miranda seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? None. Done.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll see you next meeting or whenever you're ready, Walter.
So I have one other question. Are we
Oh,
gonna do,
no,
238 Allen Street today?
not that I have on the agenda, Walter.
Really? Okay. We
Craig, I don't know why, actually, I don't.
238 Allen, we've had out for months trying to get, we're putting a new roof on it now, which we can do because we're replacing like kind, but we don't have to do it today if it's not convenient, but we would like to put new windows and siding in, just like what we did on 253 Union, pretty much. So,
Walter, that is a new application, is that correct?
yes.
Okay, I would like to defer it to the next meeting. We're
That's fine.
trying to keep these two C of A votes and
Okay.
stuff that's part of a continuing conversation,
Okay,
like 501.
okay, perfect.
Thank you so much for
Okay,
understanding.
thank you for everything.
Any discussion of old business in terms of certified local government?
I've been in touch with Linda Mackey and I'm really waiting to hear back from her. Phil, you and I had discussed, whether we would do it during a meeting or if we would pick another date.
I'd like to do it in a meeting and have
Yeah.
the public,
All right, so working on that. Okay.
even the next meeting would be great if she can come down or Zoom. Forgive me, she doesn't have to
So
go anywhere.
I was thinking of a Zoom, whether during a meeting time or, well, it would depend on her schedule, but I haven't heard back.
I would like it to be part of the meeting. I want
Okay.
everybody to know more about this aspect. And for people from City Hall and the public to hear about whether or not they feel this is beneficiary to the city as a whole. I think it is.
Yeah. I've been in touch with another associate. In fact, he just sent me a link to certified local government, but it's really having Linda commit so that.
Okay, perfect. All right, that's a good enough update then. Thank you so much for staying with,
Righty.
and Jeremy for staying with. And unless there's further business, we have a motion to.
You gotta
adjourn.
But
sign
just to
that.
make sure, we have two sides. I thought we had 136 and 11 North 7th.
On the agenda, we do not.
Yeah, you do. 11 North 7's a sign.
We didn't do that?
No,
Shame on us. 11 North 7th.
Hello,
Hi.
how are you? I'm here.
How should we address you?
Tom from
Tom.
Den Signs.
Okay. Tom,
So
I'm so sorry. I thought we called you up.
that's
on that.
okay. I like listening to you guys. It's soothing.
You didn't find it boring and strange?
No, it's great conversation. I'm just designing here in the background, listening to you guys. It's kind of like it's like listening to a podcast.
Tom, do you
A
think we can
local,
have
a
our own
local hunting
show?
podcast.
Would
It's
you
all
like to
good.
share your sign?
Yes. Here we go. We'll share my screen. All right. Where's my sign? Hopefully I'm doing this right. Can you see that?
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
And that's Camilla's.
Camilla's, yep, new pizza place. The bracket's already there from when E-Sign was there. It's a 20 by 40 double-sided MDO sign, just a basic wood sign, painted background with vinyl lettering. Could be hung on that existing bracket. Here's a little better picture of just the sign. So we're not really changing much. We're just changing the sign that was there.
Okay. To be clear, commissioners, this has gone through code enforcement in terms of sign permit and sizing. So we're basically looking at a concept, the design.
Okay,
Looks good.
Okay.
Nice, nice.
Motion to find the application complete.
make that motion.
Second, you.
Hugh, in favor?
I,
Aye.
Any opposed? None approved. Motion to approve the application and request the city attorney to prepare a CV.
Make
make
that,
that motion.
Paul and Miranda, done. All in favor?
aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay.
Thank you. Thank you,
So what
guys.
else you got, Tom?
That's all I got for today.
You
I
were
could
very
jump on something
patient
else, but no,
and
it's all-
very
it's all-
courteous
it's all good.
about being held. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day, guys.
You too.
You,
Bye-bye.
All right, what else did I miss?
Again, I was just making sure that no one was here for 136 Warren. That was the carryover.
They were the no-show?
I believe so.
Yeah, no, they were. It's in the minutes as a no-show.
Double no show.
Phil, Ronald has his hand up too. I don't know if we want to.
Who?
Ronald.
Okay. And then we can adjourn. Ronald, can you make it quick?
Yes, hello. Thanks for noticing that I had raised my hand. I just want to make a comment to the effect that as far as I can determine, no agenda was posted for this meeting. And this really puts the public at a disadvantage, leaving aside the possibility of perhaps actually going to look at a site. One has no idea of what's coming up. One has no idea of where you are in the meeting. I think that members of the public might have been interested in having advanced knowledge of Mr. Chatham's presentation, for example. So I would ask you to make your best efforts to post agendas in a timely way so that the public can be fully informed and be able to participate to the extent that, that it can in your meetings. Thanks very much.
Ronald, I couldn't agree with you more. May I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
And a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Bless us. Everyone have a great day. Enjoy the day. Thank you.
Thank you.